Hey there, it's James Erickson with EMC Dental Marketing at emcdental.com. Today we're going to talk about something that's gaining popularity in the dental world due to the amount of services that dentists are now offering. And that thing we're going to look at is temporary signage. Now I'm not going to talk about the signage that you have permanently on your office, which tells people where you're at. I'm talking about signage that's made to promote something, such as a whitening or maybe a crown special or back to school sealants or something like that. So something like a real estate sign or a yard sign or maybe a window sign or a banner that you're going to put up to promote a special offer. So I'm going to take a look at a couple of real estate signs and show you what they've done right. And I've actually got two examples, and one has done it very well and the other one hasn't done it so well. So we'll take a look at what they've both done good and what they haven't done good and how you can take advantage of that in your own practice. So we're going to start off quickly here with a couple of examples, and I'm going to tell you exactly what's right and what's wrong with each of these. And let's do a little cool effect here, and I'll fade into the first one. Alright, so here's the first of our signs, and as you see it's from Brian Smith at Coldwell Banker. Two of the first things you focus on are actually those names, but you'll notice that all of the fonts or the letter types on here are bolder. They're very big, they're large, they're probably about 3 inches tall. And when you're putting a sign together like this, you have to figure what are you trying to get the person to do when they see the sign? Are you trying to get them to call in? Are you trying to get them just to notice the sign? What do you want them to do? Now in this case it's a real estate sign and it's in front of a house that's for sale, so the person, Brian Smith, wants you to call their phone number to ask about the house and inquire about their services. And I'm assuming that if you're putting up temporary signage to promote a service, you want people to call your office. So let's look at what they've done right. Number one, big bold letters. Tall, easy to read, especially if you're driving by, easy to read. It gives you some information that you need, shown by appointment only. Tells you who's selling it, not only the name of the person, but also the name of the company. Coldwell Banker, a very respected company in our area. And it gives you phone numbers. Now, what's wrong with this sign is there's two phone numbers. Now, both will probably get you to Brian Smith, but which one do you need to contact first? And I think the one at the top is probably the more important, which is why it's at the top. But a little confusion there with two numbers, but overall a good sign. So the Coldwell Banker sign, as you see, is a pretty good sign. It's got larger numbers, and now we're going to take a look at one that maybe could have done some other things better, and it's from a smaller company that's not quite as well known. And you'll see what I mean when I show you the sign. So let's fade back out to that sign. Now here's Thompson Burnham LLC, and they're residential real estate services, as you can see. And you'll look at the difference in colors between this sign and the last sign. This one's very toned down, very earth tones, I guess. You have the beige, you have a little bit of the green, you have the rust color. But you'll look at what dominates most of the sign. It's their logo. Their logo dominates most of the sign. Now, if you're driving by this house and you're interested in this house, what do you want to see more? Do you want to see the logo or do you want to see the phone number? And we'll take a look at both of these signs from a distance and say which one makes a bigger impact. So look at this sign. We've got a big logo, Thompson Burnham LLC, residential real estate services. There's the website down at the bottom. And notice the numbering or the phone number here in comparison with the other one as well. It's skinny letters, it's less bold. The whole thing is in a nice font type, but yet it's not quite as bold or quite as large. And also the contrast in the letters between the words that say Thompson Burnham and the background is a lot different. And we'll see that when we go back at a distance. So when you're looking at a sign, do you really want to use up half your sign with your logo? And I would say no, because your logo is not really what people are looking for. People are looking for, if they want the offer, they want a way to contact and take advantage of it. So let's take a look at that first sign. Here's the first sign. And I'm going to go back and I'm actually going to show you it at a distance. So here we zoom back, and this is actually 25 yards away from the sign. And you can see, you could still read Brian Smith, you could still read Coldwell Banker, and you can still read both of the phone numbers. So you got to imagine that people are driving by in their car anywhere between 10 and 25 miles an hour on a residential road. They have plenty of time to look and see the number. Of course, if they're really interested, they'll stop or slow down. But a lot of people won't get any closer than maybe 10 yards because they'll stay in their car to call. They won't get out and walk around, and especially if it says shown by appointment only. So this sign does its job. Sure, they've used most of the sign on Coldwell Banker, but if you're in this area, you know immediately that Coldwell Banker means a home is for sale. And with both of the phone numbers there, it's easy to read. So let's take a look at the other sign here. And now if I'm driving by, it's a little bit harder to read. I can't see the website name at the bottom, it's very blurry. The top just looks like a big ball of whatever, it's their logo, but you can't really tell that by looking at it. I can't see the name of the company, and the phone number is even harder to read. It's very skinny letters, hard to read, and difficult. So you see the difference between this sign and this sign is that this one's easier, and these are both taken from the same distance away, 25 yards. This one's a lot easier. You can read the letters, the numbers, easy. Here it's a little more difficult, and so it's making it more difficult for somebody to get to contact in order to purchase the house. So what does this mean for your practice? Well, if you're doing temporary signage, you have to say, well, what's the purpose of my temporary sign? Do I want people to call me? Do I want people just to notice my practice? What do I want them to do? If you want them to call in, you need to put your phone number on there. You need to put it prominently on there. Now, there's no problem with putting your logo on your sign. As you saw, the Coldwell Banker sign actually said Coldwell Banker really big on it. You want to make sure that you convey a benefit to your services as well as give them a way to respond. The rule of thumb for sign numbers is for every 100 feet, for every 100 feet you want people to see it from, your letters need to be 1 inch tall. So if you're on a busy road, you're probably going to want to shoot for 400 or 500 feet, which means 4 inches or 5 inches tall for your phone number or your name or your offer or whatever you're offering them. So make sure you use bold colors as well. These earth tones, they don't quite come across. The contrast in them isn't enough. A nice solid blue and white or a black and white sign is always good. Reverse letters tend to work well in a larger context, but don't rely on them all the time because sometimes they can be harder to read. Also, use a font or a type style that is sans serif, and what that means is that the T's or the S's or the I's don't have the little tails on them. It's more of a block style font. It's a lot easier to read, especially when you're driving by. So that's your information for today. Put together a great temporary sign, promote a summer whitening special, promote some sealants from back to school. This has been James Erickson. If you want any more information on any of our services, go to emcdental.com. Visit emcdental.com for more dental marketing articles, as well as all the information on our turnkey dental marketing services.